No escuché.
Ese grito tuyo para los espectadores.
The top 10 managers in the Premier League today. If you disagree with my list, let me know in the comment section below. Who should be higher, who should be lower? This is a much tougher list than you think it is. At number 10, I have Burnley manager Sean Dyche. You see Sean Dyche's resume as follows. Watford manager from 2011 to July 2012. And for now 5 seasons, going on to his 5th this year, he's been the Burnley manager, and with Burnley, he's won a championship trophy. He's come 7th place last year, which is a Europa League finish. And he's got 1 Premier League manager of the month. For me, he edges Eddie Howe ever so slightly. And this is only because he's finished higher than Howe, 7th place last season. The highest Howe finish with Bournemouth was, I believe, 9th place, which isn't too bad. But when you consider the fact that Sean Dyche is operating on what is basically a shoestring budget, one of the smallest budgets in the league, you have to give him credit for sticking with the players that he has, buying well, playing, I wouldn't say great football, but very defensive, but football that works for the team with his personnel that he has at his disposal. A great defensive team, and because of how long he has been with Burnley, you can believe that 5 years is a long time in this generation of football managers. You could see Sean Dyche getting another job at a much bigger club with much bigger wages and a much bigger transfer budget for him to play with. Hopefully he's given that chance, because I think he deserves it. He's worked very hard with what he has, which is why he comes in at number 10. In at number 9, we have Everton manager Marco Silva. Marco Silva's probably been at more clubs than you think he has. Experience with Sporting Lisbon gave him a platform and gave him a chance to put his name out there. He won the Portuguese Cup, the equivalent of the FA Cup in England, in Portugal, which is very big considering the teams that are in Portugal, Benfica and Porto. He's also won the league with Olympiacos. He also won a trophy with the very first club he was with. I believe it's pronounced Estoril. Portuguese is not my first language. And of course in England, he's managed Hull, Watford and now Everton. He plays a relatively exciting brand of football where his team scores goals. And as a relatively young manager, he has plenty of room to grow. He's shown in England that he can buy really well. His time in Watford, he bought really good transfers in, including Richarlison, who he brought to Everton, and you see what he's doing right now. And even when he was at Hull City, he had really big results. He couldn't keep them up, unfortunately, and probably would have stayed there if there wasn't any complications with the board. But Everton should count their stars that they've got a really good manager to look forward to. Hopefully he can do good things with Everton. Hopefully Everton have a really good season like I think they will this year. And if they do, it will be down to the brilliance of one Marco Silva. Coming in at number 8 is the Hammers manager Manuel Pellegrini. Pellegrini's coming back to the Premier League with a little bit of money in his pocket because he came from China after managing there's no way I'm going to be able to pronounce that, so you're just going to have to read it on the screen. Has managed a few clubs in his career, which include some of the biggest in South America, River Plate, where he won the league, the Primera Division, and obviously where he came to Spain, where he really made his name with Villarreal, consistently keeping them competitive in the Spanish league. He got the job at Real Madrid, which, to his credit, is literally the hardest job in the world to keep. If you're not winning, you're gone, which is what happened. He got sacked May 2010. So he went to Malaga, which he found really good success, helping the development of players like Isco, Solomon Rondon. That Malaga team was really good, actually. Ooh, I'm having a nice throwback. I remember the Champions League. Anyway, that notoriety got him the job at Manchester City, where of course he won the league, then China, and now of course he manages West Ham. He won the Premier League with Manchester City. It was in that magical season that Yaya Toure scored 20 goals and was just beasting on. That was prime Yaya Toure that we had back in 2013, 2014. He probably would be higher on the list just because he is known for having well-organized teams, playing really well and getting really good results that help them in the league, that help his teams in the league, I should say. However, like some of the managers that are above him, he hasn't proven that he can keep a really good job. The Real Madrid and Manchester City are just prime examples of what I mean. Real Madrid got sacked, he couldn't win. Manchester City, yeah, he won the league, but it was circumstantial. We're not going to actually go into what happened. Looking at you, Mr. Steven Gerrard. Hopefully with West Ham, he can do good things, land another one and prove me wrong, because wouldn't we all like that for Mr. Manuel Pellegrini? But until then, I'm just going to keep thinking that the managers ahead of him are just ever so slightly better. and in some cases a lot better. Coming in at number 7, we have the Newcastle manager, Rafa Benitez. The manager of the Magpies actually is one of the more decorated managers on this list, boasting a Champions League, 2 Europa Leagues, some La Liga titles, both with Valencia might I add, which is mighty impressive, but they were over 10 years ago to be fair. He's also managed some of the biggest clubs in the world, including Liverpool, Inter Milan, Real Madrid, Napoli, Chelsea. You'd think with such a resume that surely he could at least crack into the top 5. Like, what do you mean he's the 7th best manager in the Premier League? He could well be higher. On another day, I could be feeling Benitez as a top 5 manager, not really, but you never know. It's just one of those things. I do believe after Liverpool he has regressed as a manager, only because he did fail to keep any of the top jobs that he had. At Inter Milan, he got sacked before Christmas. Chelsea saw him as just an interim. Real Madrid, you already know what happened. Ronaldo hated him. And obviously Newcastle, well, Newcastle is a kind of a situational thing just for him, just because he wants to be near Liverpool, near family, things like that. So I can't blame him too much for that. And he's actually been relatively successful with Newcastle, getting them promoted when he did come mid-season, keeping them afloat in the Premier League. He's doing okay, which is what I expect him to do, because he's one of the better managers in the league, which is why he's on this list. You would have thought, just because he has been managing for such a long time as well, in England and in Spain and Italy, he would have won more league titles than he has. But he hasn't. He's really good in the cups, which does suit his more defensive approach to the game. He really knows how to grind out results. And in my opinion, actually it works really well when he isn't expected to win anything. So with Valencia, of course, we was with them from 2001 to 2004. He actually won. With Newcastle, he's doing really good things. With Napoli, he did good things with Higuain, helping him resurrect his career after he got sold by Real Madrid. So yeah, he could be higher, but I think that 7th place is fair on this list. In at number 6, got tougher on here. I have Maurizio Sarri of Chelsea. Sarri ball. Can you believe that Sarri has managed over 10 clubs since 1996? I wasn't even born then. That's crazy to me. I've put his most notable clubs here. Got the job at Napoli, succeeding Rafa Benitez. And in his 3 years at Napoli, he did okay. He kept it very, very competitive with Juventus, although he was never actually going to win just because Juventus had always the better team. But he always kept it interesting, especially last season they actually almost won the league, which would have been his first actual trophy, because as a manager since 1996 he's actually never won anything meaningful. He has 1 Serie A Coach of the Year to his name, but other than that, not too much. If you're asking yourself why I consider him better than Benitez, it's just that, number 1, consider if you would prefer Benitez or Maurizio Sarri at your club, comparing the 2 styles of play that both managers do have, Benitez being more defensive and Sarri being more offensive minded. Consider who you believe would be better with your club's superstars or best players. Sarri has been known to be really good with his club's best players, whereas Benitez, like I said, Ronaldo hated him. Not just him, a bunch of the players didn't like him at Real Madrid or Chelsea. And also consider when Liverpool and when Manchester City and when even Chelsea, when even Manchester United were looking for managers to take their club to the next steps, why do you think Benitez was never on their radar? But this man, Maurizio Sarri, was. He's good for the clout, he's good for developing players at the team, which is why I only see him winning trophies with Chelsea for the foreseeable future, unfortunately for me. Let me know in the comments, do you think Benitez is actually better than him? I don't, but you never know. There's a reason why they did out Antonio Conte for this guy right here. I actually believe Conte is better than him, but what do I know? Here is the top 5, and coming in at number 5, we have another Maurizio Pochettino, the Spurs manager. What has Pochettino won? He has won 4 Manager of the Month awards. Wow. In all seriousness though, even though his records with Spurs, with Southampton, with Espanyol aren't the greatest in terms of trophy success, he is still relatively young, only starting managing in 2009, so this would be his 10th year of managing. Give him some credit. In that 10 years he has proven that he's great with player development. Just look out the young players of Spurs coming through the ranks and in the first team are playing so well under Pochettino and his pressing style of play. Southampton, where he made Lovren, Adam Lallana, Jay Rodriguez, so many of their players, he helped them get to where they are right now. Very good at handling personalities, and he's literally one of the next up to get one of the big jobs, not even just in England but anywhere in the world. And the only reason why he probably hasn't gone so far, that you know that Tottenham's chairman loves peace. Daniel Levy's not just going to let his prized possessions, including his manager, just walk for pennies on the dollar or pound because we're in England. And if Tottenham start winning some trophies and Pochettino can just add to his resume, forget it. It's over. You're going to have to pay literally world record compensation fees to get this man out of Spurs. Coming in at number 4, Unai Emery of Arsenal. Arsenal, on paper, have done a really good job in replacing their legendary manager Arsene Wenger with a very, very successful manager in Unai Emery. In terms of European pedigree, he's near the top. 3 Europa Leagues, back to back to back. That's very, very impressive, Unai. His job at PSG, not so spectacular, but he still won the league, plus other individual awards. Unai Emery's done his thing around Europe. Now it's to prove that he can be as successful as a manager as he was in Spain, in France, in England. He has proven that during his time at all of his clubs, he knows how to use what he has. Just because he has a system, he has a way of playing, and it's been working for him. Obviously, PSG was his biggest test because that was his opportunity to show that he can handle some of the world's biggest superstars, their egos combined with his. And obviously it didn't end too well, just because he did end up getting sacked. Because PSG is such a tough job, to be fair. It's Champions League or bust every single year literally for them, because the league, they've won the league for like 60 million years in a row now. Hopefully Arsenal fans can appreciate the football that this man does bring to the club, and also his versatility. He can be really gritty, he can grind out results when he needs, and of course he can play that also nice flashy football that he has done with Sevilla, PSG. But are the other managers ahead of him better or worse? In at number 3, I have Jurgen Klopp of Liverpool. Probably the most popular manager on this list and in the league. A very, very offensive-minded coach who does, to his credit, get good results because of the entertaining way he does play football, the high pressing, the gegenpressing, the heavy metal football. It's gotten some really good results as Liverpool manager and also as Dortmund manager. People do forget that he did win 2 Bundesligas back-to-back with Dortmund over Bayern Munich, which is an accomplishment in itself because Bayern Munich win the league every year, unfortunately. And with Dortmund, he gained a reputation for being one of the best, in my opinion actually, the best player development manager in the world. Because he has continued that process with Liverpool. People like Mario Götze, Marco Reus, Lewandowski, Gundogan, Mo Salah as of recently, Firmino, Mane, Trent Alexander-Arnold, Wijnaldum. I could go on literally forever. This guy is birthing careers, literally, which is highly, highly impressive. Considering that it's just not one that's turned into a really, really good player. It's literally, there's so many. So credit where credit is due on that front. He's also really good in the transfer market when it comes to buying players and improving the team. The only major thing that he does need to work on as a manager is in cup competitions, closing the deal. What do I mean by that? Not just getting to the final or getting to the semi-finals and then losing and then patting players on the back just because they got there. Not that he does do that, maybe he does, I don't know. I don't really support Liverpool, so I don't follow him like that. But what I do know is that he tends to come up short in finals because he hasn't won a trophy since his last Bundesliga in 2012, which if he's pushing top 3 in the Premier League, you gotta win some trophies sooner or later. And the way Liverpool are looking this season, trophy's looking not too far. A trophy is looking like it's coming in their future. What trophy is it? I'm not too sure. Maybe you could take some notes from the next manager on this list, because I have Jose Mourinho as the second best manager in the league. Yes. If you didn't know already, then yes, I am a Man United fan. However, there's no bias on this list, I promise, okay? I do believe that Jose Mourinho is the second best manager in the league, even though I do believe he needs to compose himself at some times because he can move very erratic on the press. In terms of his trophy cabinet, need I say any more? He's won multiple leagues in basically every country he's been in. Champions Leagues, Europa League last year. He's literally won almost every club competition that he could have. He's won literally almost every individual managerial award that he could have. His resume is literally the best in the league, the best. And if he was odd game and if his teams were playing well and were winning, then he could well be the best manager in the world. He could be the best manager in England. However, admittingly, The team has underperformed, unfortunately. People have built them to do much better things, including winning the league, doing much better in the Champions League than they have. It's disappointing, and he also has been known for not bringing the best, the absolute best, out of players that maybe he could have. Prime example is Pogba now, just because you see the way he plays for France, and then you see the way he plays for United. Different. Same could be said for players like Lukaku, Sanchez, maybe other players you can think of, let me know. But they're the main ones that I see. Even his last day at Chelsea, it didn't end well. He almost got them relegated, which is probably the lowest point that he's ever been at in his career. Especially somebody that's known for keeping such good relations with players, fall out with a lot of players during his time with Chelsea, and possibly now with Manchester United. The future is not looking too bright for Mr. Mourinho. But you have to give him credit where credit is due. As he said, respect. Give the guy his credit, because he is one of the best that's ever done it. However, the best manager in the Premier League, and coming in at number 1, it's got to be Pep Guardiola, hasn't it? Literally everything that I've said about Mourinho being a winner, knowing how to win, Guardiola does that. He's got Premier Leagues now, well, at least one Premier League, Champions Leagues, La Ligas, multiple individual awards, German awards, German leagues. Literally wherever he's gone, he's won, and he's been dominant. With Barcelona, of course, he had the best player arguably of all time in Messi, in his prime, being dominant. However, one thing that he has over all the other managers that managed Messi is that he managed him during his best periods, where he was winning Ballon d'Ors for days, for fun, and it was not even a question that Ronaldo was better than him. No way in hell in those times with Ronaldo better than Messi. Then he goes to Bayern Munich. He makes Frank Ribery a monster, Lewandowski a monster. In his system, that Bayern team was simply unplayable. In the Champions League, they really should have won one, but that's how football goes sometimes. And in Manchester City, you see what he's doing now. He's made Kevin De Bruyne world class, essentially, if he wasn't already. He's brought up the games of players like Jesus, Sterling, John Stones, you name it, he's probably done it if he didn't buy them. Because that's one criticism of him. He is a little bit of a checkbook manager. If there's money, you bet your money he's gonna spend it. The only time he has proved that he can win without spending money was his time with the B team in Barcelona. But that was his first job, so of course he has to prove himself in some way, some form. And obviously every board that he's been at trusts him to spend wisely. And 90% of the time, he has. I can't remember one bad signing that he's done in recent memory. Claudio Bravo? Maybe, but it's hit and miss. That was his first season. Bravo can't really speak. I'll leave that judgment up to you. That's the end of my list. Let me know how I did. I think I did okay. But if you think this list is complete trash, let me know in the comment section below. You won't hurt my feelings, I promise. Like and share the video if you did enjoy the content. Also, my apologies for being extremely inconsistent in uploading videos. Back now, I'm doing my thing, and I'll be doing my best to bring the game in all kinds of aspects on to you. Like, share, comment, subscribe, and have a nice day.